Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So, this couple here, husband and wife, Armando Barron on the left, Brittany Barron on the left, on the right, excuse me. Armando Barron is charged with capital murder and a couple other charges. His wife is charged with real quickly. It's a long kind of story, but I'll try to sum it up first and then go through all the various, details that are in the report. She's been charged by the Attorney General's office with 3 counts of falsifying physical evidence for allegedly altering, destroying, concealing, or removing items of physical evidence to impede the investigation. Despite facing those charges, the monitor is not naming her because of the documented abuse she endured. She's been named in several other news outlets. The Daily Beast is one of which, this Conway Daily Sun as well, and several others at this stage, But so she's basically charged with falsifying physical evidence and trying to conceal evidence. And to make a long story short, Armando Barron is accused, allegedly murdered a man he believes she was having an affair with, who is this individual here, Jonathan Armrold, who she was also working with, and then basically forcing her to not necessarily participate in the murder, but participate, and she was present during the entire, episode, and she obviously was tortured herself first by him before he was able to lure Jonathan Armrold to a secret, like a different location, pretending he was her by using her phone, texting him to meet her at, this campground or state park that's not far from Jaffrey, New Hampshire, where they live, and ultimately ends up murdering him, and then he forces her to also participate in the disposing and concealing of his body. One of which was he literally forced her to cut his head off with a saw, and decapitate him, which she did, and she admits to this, because she was basically under the threat of her life. She's been charged, and and she remains in custody. She wasn't allowed to be released on bail. I don't think any bail was set at this stage, and I think the judge was just fine with that. I saw a little bit of his arraignment hearing on Friday, even though he was arraigned on different charges. His this Friday, because this all began last Saturday, the 19th, when he basically discovered, through her phone, looking through her phone, that she was having an affair with this man, Jonathan Armrold, a person that she worked with at a medical devices company in Jaffrey called Teleflex. They basically were led to this couple because when he didn't show up for work on Monday and his mother reported him missing with the authorities, the police started at his work. Other employees there believed that the two of them were having an affair, as well as she had called in on Monday herself to basically resign and so forth. This is a pretty long story that, like I said, began on Saturday when the husband discovered that his wife was having an affair with her. He proceeded to, beat her and torture her, according to what she told to police. And I think this is in the affidavit. I haven't seen the actual affidavit. Many portions of it are provided in various reports. And this is probably one of the more accurate descriptions that I'm going to read from in a second. But he obviously beat her, smashed in her face, stuck a gun in her mouth. And this began in the bathroom that moved into the bedroom of their own home. They have children too, I believe. They're on Facebook. Both parties are. This is, and I know I'm just kind of jumping all over the place. This is the individual who was killed and ultimately decapitated, and his body buried in northern New Hampshire. Jaffrey's in the southernmost part of New Hampshire. But they moved on to a different location to try to dispose of and conceal his body. But this is Jonathan Armrold's Facebook page. There's other pictures of him there as well, but I don't want to show other parties and so forth. This is the husband and wife, Armando and Brittany. And this is, I wasn't real sure because, but it is. It's them. After reading through some of the posts, I see somebody that's either his mother or father refer to him as Armando, and there's many other pictures in here, and we don't necessarily need to go through all of them. And actually, they have a baby in this picture here. That's why I'm sort of covering it up. And but I think they may have 3 children, but I'm not real sure. May even be 4. It looks to me like 3. But anyways, so After he had tortured her for some time Saturday into late Saturday evening, possibly early morning Sunday, he then uses her phone to text Jonathan Armorall, pretending he's her, to trick him to meet what he believes to be her at a state park that's very close by to where they live, which is the Annett State Forest Park. And this is like 5 miles from Jaffrey, and they do. He meets them there. So, and a number of different things happen there before Armando ultimately kills Jonathan by shooting him 3 times, twice in the chest and once in the head. Let me just kind of pick up the description here to kind of tell the rest of that, and but it goes on from there, from the state park here, where Armando ultimately kills Jonathan. After he's dead, all three, the two of them, the husband and wife, drive the 2 different vehicles, because now they have Jonathan's vehicles, back to their own home to basically go to a much further location and prepare for like a camping trip that would, that was designed to dispose of the body. And essentially, the wife claims, and there's some reason to believe her, that she was basically being forced to do this whole time. But the reason the Attorney General is not allowing her to be, released on bail and is continuing to press forward with charges is because there are multiple times when she very easily could have gotten away. There's actually one point where the husband gives the gun to her and wants her to kill the guy, which she refuses to do. There's another instance where the husband Armando wants Brittany to choke him by standing on his throat, which she does, but she tells the police that she didn't press down hard on his throat. And then Armando orders Jonathan into the hatch of his SUV Subaru, at gunpoint, and then orders his wife to get in to the hatch with him and slice his wrist with some kind of sharp object, a knife of some sort or something, which she does. She does that. We don't know the extent to that, but he remained alive, I think, at that point. They get in his vehicle, or the husband gets in the back seat of that same Subaru, and I think she's in the driver's seat. And at some point, he just snaps and out of rage, just turns around and shoots the individual, Jonathan Armour, who's still in the hatchback, 3 times, hitting him twice in the chest and once in the head. And at that point, he was killed. But so then they go from that state park back to their residence with the 2 vehicles, where she's driving Jonathan Armorall's Subaru with him dead in the hatchback, and he's driving the car that they came there in the first place with. And then they proceed to go with those 2 vehicles to another location in northern New Hampshire, on the very tip of northern New Hampshire. That's about 4 hours away or something like that, 200 miles away, to dispose of the body. And it's at that location that he forces her to cut off his head with the saw, which they wrap the head up, I think, in something and bury it, and then attempt to bury the rest of the body in a shallow graves in some other site within the same campground that's at the northern New Hampshire location that they had driven to 200 miles away. But there are many times where prosecutors are saying she could have escaped, or and altered the sequence of events. So we'll see whether or not her charges remain, or if there's more to the story or not, or if she basically is made to cooperate in the prosecution of her own husband, and ultimately her charges are reduced significantly, or her criminal sentence isn't, by cooperating. That's my guess as to what's going to happen. So she told police her husband, Armando Barron, discovered she had been having an affair with Armorall after going through her cell phone on September 9th. September 9th is a Saturday, okay? Last Saturday, a week from today, actually, okay? Right here. And Barron then allegedly assaulted her in their bedroom, striking her several times in the face and in the head, causing injuries to her eyes and nose, according to police affidavit. He allegedly continued the assault in their bedroom, including putting a gun in her mouth and choking her until she lost consciousness. During that night, either Saturday or early on Sunday morning, Armando Barron allegedly used his wife's phone to send a text to Armoralt, pretending to be her, and arranging to meet Armoralt at the Annett State Park in Ringe, which is what this is right here, and that's where the murder ultimately happened, allegedly. And then after that, I'll continue reading that. They traveled 4 hours and 10 minutes to Abbott Brook Road, basically Errol. I think it's called Errol is the township or the area where they traveled to, some campground up here. And she was discovered by Fish and Wildlife on Tuesday after he had been called back home by the police who were looking for her and her coworker, who ultimately was killed, allegedly by them, So let me continue. Darn it. Where was I? During that night, either Saturday or early on Sunday morning, Armando Barron allegedly used his wife's phone to send a text to Armoralt, pretending to be her and arranging to meet Armoralt at Annett State Park in Ringe. While driving to the park, Armando Barron continued to assault his wife, according to the court documents. When Armoralt arrived at Annett State Park, Armando Barron assaulted him before handing his wife a gun and ordering her to shoot him, according to the police report. She refused, and then Armando Barron told her to kill Armoralt by stepping on his throat. She confessed to putting her foot on Armoralt's throat, but told police she did not apply force. Armoralt was ordered at gunpoint into the back hatch of his own vehicle, where Armando then directed his wife to slice Armoralt's wrist with a blade, which she did, she told police. After injuring Armoralt's wrist, the Barrons got into Armoralt's car. The woman told police Armando turned and fired a Taurus Judge handgun 3 times, hitting Armoralt twice in the chest and once in the head. Let me just stop real quickly there. I mean, basically, when he gave her the gun, I assume she was hoping that, this was just a fit of rage and that their husband was not going to ultimately kill the guy. And that's, was hoping this would all diffuse, even though it had escalated to, pretty serious situation at this point. I'm just providing some possible perspectives as to why she didn't just take the gun at that point and either shoot her husband or say, this stops now or I'm going to shoot you. I mean, she's going to have to explain for that, but, her mental state, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. The Barrons returned to their Jaffrey home and packed for camping before driving Armoralt's Subaru Impreza with his body inside, as well as a separate vehicle, to a camping area off Abbott Brook Road in Atkinson and Gilmanton Academy Grant, an unincorporated township near Errol in northern New Hampshire. That's what I showed you on the map. So, I mean, that's, again, she's in a separate vehicle from her husband. So why she didn't peel off or, drive to any place and scream to anybody for help is, remains to be seen. And it continues. It continues to say that after they prepared for this camping trip up in the northern part of New Hampshire to basically dispose of this man's body, Armando stopped at a general store to get supplies, to get, stuff to do that, to conceal the body and get rid of it. It says, according to the wife's statement to police, Armando Barron told her once the sun came up the next morning, he would forgive her. So that would be Monday morning. This is all Sunday, and they get up to, I think, the other campsite in northern New Hampshire Sunday at some point. And he basically told her Monday morning, when this was all done and they had gotten rid of the body, he would forgive her. So along the way, Armando Barron allegedly stopped at a general store where he purchased 2 tarps, lighter fluid, a container of cleaning fluid, and a shovel. According to court documents, while at the campsite, Armando Barron directed his wife to cut off Armoralt's head to make identifying him by dental records impossible and to wrap the body in a tarp. She said she used a small saw to remove Armoralt's head, wrapped it up, and the two put it in a grave Armando Barron dug before burying it. Armando Barron then destroyed Armoralt's phone and instructed his wife to send text messages from her phone to some of her contacts to tell people she was all right and planning on leaving for a while, according to court documents. Armando Barron drove back to Jaffrey, where police spotted his 2008 Jeep Patriot outside his Main Street home Monday morning. Police questioned Armando Barron about his wife's disappearance. Armando Barron allegedly told police that he had last seen her on Sunday morning, 2 a.m., when he dropped her off at Temple Mountain parking lot. It continues. There's some discrepancy about that because I've seen in another report where it says he got called by the authorities to come home and about his wife's whereabouts. It says the next part of the plan was to dig a grave for the rest of the body. Armando planned to drive to Keene and send texts from Armoralt's phone to throw off anyone looking for the young man, Brittany said. But he got a call that police were looking for him and Brittany. He headed back home and he told her to dispose of the body before he returned, the warrant says. So I'm just not sure about that, you know. I think I got the time right in terms of when he says he would forgive her, you know, at sunrise. That I believe that would be Monday morning, you know, and that this basically all took place over the course of Saturday night, late night, Sunday early morning into Monday morning. The Fish and Wildlife eventually caught up with Brittany, because he left her there with the body, you know, after having disposed of the body. I'm not sure if she did that herself or they did that together. I'm not sure the exact timing of what time he left her alone there. But Fish and Wildlife of that area, in that campground area, ran into her and, you know, discovered Armoralt's car with a tarp over top of it. I think they discovered his body, his headless body, in a brook or stream, you know, in some kind of shallow grave, you know, and her. And according to reports, the first words she said was, "I'm in big trouble," something like that. So, you know, that's pretty much the extent of it. But the Assistant Attorney General, Scott Chase, agreed that the woman was cooperative, but said that was taken into account in deciding which charges to bring. And like I said, she has charges brought against her and she remains in custody. He argued that her release would endanger the public and that she had opportunities to get away from her husband and report the crime, including when they were in a separate cars driving 200 miles north. She was cooperative after she got caught, he said. According to the police affidavit, the woman told investigators that her husband went through her cell phone on Saturday and discovered the affair, etc. You know, let me pick it up here real quick. He communicated to her that once the sun came up the next morning, he would forgive her, police wrote. At the campsite, the woman said her husband ordered her to cut off Armoralt's head so his body could not be identified by dental records, bury it, and wrap the rest of the body in a tarp. He later left her there to dispose of the body and returned home, according to the documents. On Tuesday, 2 Fish and Game conservation officers who found the campsite noticed a large brown tarp that later was revealed to be covering Armoralt's car. They later noticed another object wrapped in a tarp in a shallow brook that turned out to be Armoralt's body, headless body. "I'm in big trouble." Quote, "I'm in big trouble," the woman told the officers, according to the police affidavit. That was Tuesday. She was officially charged on Thursday, and I think both of them were arraigned on Friday. And like I said, he's been charged with capital murder, but also he was also charged with beating and threatening his wife, who has been charged with falsifying evidence. So, and here's him. I'll play a little bit of this. I mean, he just says, "I understand, Your Honor," something like that. And he pleads not guilty, you know.
Can you see and hear me okay from the jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Barron, can you see and hear me okay from the jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So it's pretty much the story there. It's obviously a pretty gruesome crime and a shame. You know, this guy was obviously pretty bright. You know, he's only 25 years old. The company they worked at, Teleflex Medical in Jaffrey, but he had a biomedical engineering degree, I believe, from the Rochester Institute of Technology, which, as I understand it, is not quite like MIT, but it's very close. Extremely competitive. Science, math, and engineering school that's just top caliber students go there, you know. And that's how I understand it. And he had a biomedical engineering degree from there. So had his whole life ahead of him, and now he's gone. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.